Hello. Hello. I'll try that one more time. Hello? Hello. You'll get there. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Our presentation is on diversity and inclusion, and this is Stacy Devino. She's awesome. She works for Nike. She does sneaker stuff, she told me. I think she does a lot more than that, but she also is swag queen. So.
And this is Rio, your other WTM ambassador mentor.
Yep.
And she's from Fresno. She also organizes GDG Fresno as well as WTM Fresno. She's a college professor, and if you don't know her that well, she's got some sick moves.
That wasn't sick, but okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about some good examples and maybe some
bad examples
of how you could encourage diversity and inclusion in your meetups. Okay? So we're going to do it in hopefully a fun way. That's our goal. Yeah, you never know how it turns out. So, that's the plan of how we're going to do it.
Yeah, and for those 90s kids out there, think a little bit like Animaniacs, good idea, bad idea. So, just so you have a little bit of reference here.
Awesome.
Meetup advertising is our first subject. So what you'll kind of see is we kind of have a subject matter, and then we kind of go through the bad, and then the good. And I'm the bad. So, what's up, bro? And we have a really cool meetup. It's like a super close good of friends of ours. It's bunch of the guys, I'm the chick, it's all right. We kind of hang out at this bar, it's really fun, but at the same point in time, we're super serious coding, the whole time. And, I'm the only chick. I mean, most of us are in, I'm kind of old, too, in my, early 30s. I mean, most of the guys, they're kind of in their mid-20s. So, I should just feel pretty cool that they even, want to hang out with me. But, our pictures and stuff like that are on the meetup. Kind of just showing us just, coding together, maybe in a circle, not really talking and kind of just drinking.
So I'm from GDG. Yes, queen? So we had an accomplishment. We actually have 6 months planned of GDG speaker and topics. And way excited about that because you know why? Because we can look at, are we representing our community? What kind of talks do we have coming up? Who's a speaker? How can we promote them? Where do we promote them? I mean, we can do so much because, yes, queen, we are ready to go. And scene. Okay, yeah.
So kind of what was bad about that, right? I advertised the meetup with beer. I basically set out, hey, you pretty much want to be a dude in your mid-20s, probably, one distinct group. And our pictures show that. Nobody seems to be having fun. And, I'm kind of the only chick in a group of guys. It's probably not going to be a place where other chicks want to hang out because, just one, really? And, it's just all super serious. So it doesn't really seem like something that would be very friendly or welcoming to new people.
So what was good about that, right? So, if your page is family friendly, and that's been mentioned several times today, right? Diversity in the whole group. This actually, the lower picture here is from our GDG, a meetup that happened recently, our planning meetup. And it was great because to me, the human rainbow was there. Both, all ages, shapes, and sizes. And so really that's what you want to do. Think about that when you're doing your meetups. Because this is a way, picture says 1,000 words, we all know it, but it really does. But don't put up something that doesn't represent you, that you got off stock photo. Okay, don't do that. That's why having a good photographer, somebody's taking pictures, somebody that's planning them is really helpful because you can use your own stuff or, all of us have things. So, but if it represents your group, your community, that's the better way to go. Yeah, bro. So I'm glad you're here, right? And because, we're going to talk about code, right? Code is really all we're about because we're all awesome programmers. And really, code is the only thing that matters. If you're not a good coder, well, we're glad you're here, but really, you're all good coders. So it doesn't really matter. And welcome.
So, like Rio, you just came to our meetup. Hi, what is your name? What are you here for the GDG? What are you interested in learning today? What do you do professionally? Oh my gosh, you know what? So-and-so also works there, but works on this other team. You should really come over and I'll introduce you guys together so you can have a really fun time.
That's awesome. So what was the bad? Right? So, bro, right? So being shy, right? It was almost hard for me to play shy a little bit. It was like, I got to conjure up some shyness somewhere, right? But also talking about that your group is, are just super technical from the start. I mean, you're going to throw some people into a comfort zone that says, or into an uncomfortable note that says, I don't belong here. Right? Because as I guess, we all do have a variety of levels in our groups. And so when you start out with that tone, you're going to put people off. So try not to do that. And I know sometimes we kind of get in the mode and we just kind of go through things, but just honestly take that moment to think about what you're saying and how you're saying it.
So wasn't that good example? Welcome! It was enthusiastic, it was friendly, it was welcoming, it was non-distinct. I did not say, welcome, we don't get many girls here. That happens. I've had that happen to me. I'm saying from personal example. It's one of those things where having a universal greeting where people feel universally welcome, and quite honestly, something that you can remember, especially if you're not an extrovert, if you're an introvert, you have kind of lines ready to go, right? And also what I would say here is that your slides, your signage, all of that stuff should be friendly, polite, professional. What you should really think about is, would my HR have a problem with me presenting this at work or showing this at work? Would they have a different perspective or advice that I should actually be going for? Ooh, attracting members. Oh, shoot, sorry. So, like I said earlier, we're like a really close group of guys, just hanging out and having fun. And, because we're like that, we really want to make sure that we're only bringing the right people into the group. Somebody that I've kind of hanging out with for quite a while and knows at least, 3-4 other people in the group before introducing them, because, we really like to stick really close together. And, we do have a few people that are really into this gaming group, and there's another group of people that are super into this one particular anime, which is great, but it's pretty much all similar interests, even outside of work, that kind of thing, really. Oh, shit. I keep hitting the button.
Yeah, so the other night, I went to the LGBTQ center and we were giving a meeting. We were having a meeting at the center, and I looked around at our folks and I realized we're actually doing a really good job. Look, we have women, we have men, we have old, we have young, we have this, we have that. I'm like, this is so cool. We're actually doing a good job. What are we doing? And I asked myself, what are we doing? I'm like, you know what? We're reaching out to new communities. We went to the LGBTQ community outreach to have our meeting. And we got introduced to a whole new audience out there, which was totally awesome. That was so helpful. So that we could then, and here's the piece of that meeting that was so fun, is at the end, somebody asked, how'd you hear about this meeting? And what we realized is that Meetup's one, Facebook's one, but we found also that other people asking other people is as powerful as Facebook and Meetup combined.
Now I'll hit the go slide.
Go.
So actually, when we're talking about here with the bad, only talking to a group of folks that you already have represented or that are already in the group. That's kind of rough, right? Like lack of different ages, experiences, just like when I was talking about that group earlier. Everybody was kind of in their mid-20s and kind of all super experienced, which I don't know how much experience you can have in your mid-20s, but they seem to think they have a lot. But also like diversity there, right? It's a very concentrated group with not just diversity in terms of the way they look, but it was also a very concentrated group in terms of what their interests were, what they did outside of work. So it brings even less thought diversity than you may have just had by going by simple demographics and things like that. So think beyond just a case of diversity being skin color or age or even ethnic background, but it also being something about thought diversity and what you bring in as far as that goes.
So in my example, right, so one of the things I didn't talk about, but I think is really great, is reaching out to high school and college students. I think many of us live around these communities. And so going there is kind of a rich, so to speak, membership possibility because of their already interest in these topics, right? But high school is, I think, especially interesting too, because these are people that we can grow into our communities and bring a lot of great energy, right? It's fun to have them in there. And of course, other women tech makers, right? So when we're looking to say, you know, and an important part of this is really looking around your community and then looking around your meetup and go, how well are we representing our community? And that will help you kind of say, here's where I might need to target some events or target some outreach, you know, into these areas. And of course, underrepresented communities. In Fresno, actually, we have a huge Hispanic community. And we looked around, not one Hispanic organizer. Not a lot of Hispanic attendees. So we ran a Dev Fest last year and we had a Hispanic track. And now I'm noticing a few more coming in. So, you know, you got to do it because it makes you better. Honestly, we're all better when we're more diverse. I think that's something we can all agree on. Yo, so I come from the hipster background, and we have a hipster club, and that club is really the bomb, man. And you know what? We hold all our meetups there because the truth is, you know, it's late at night, and really, what do we care if nobody can get there? Because hell, nobody drives anyway, so it doesn't matter. You just come, and you know, after the meeting, we'll hang out and get drunk. It's okay.
Whoa, that sounds really intense. You know, I bet that's kind of intimidating. We seem to have ours at a lot of local businesses, and we really make it at an hour that is highly accessible, you know, kind of right after work, sometime between 6 and 7, especially, you know, location-wise, just to make sure that we can get kind of everybody within, you know, a 30, 40-minute driving radius. And then, you know, one thing we didn't even talk about is some people have kids, right? Like, and it's really hard to find a babysitter for like 2 hours, and who wants to deal with that mess? So maybe making it so that they can bring their kids and they can actually participate and grow in the GDG is a really good way to think about how you can build your community up and really start reaching out into families and other groups that maybe you haven't tapped before.
So on my bad example,
I guess it didn't go.
right? So, you know, I mean, I know we heard this earlier about meeting in bars, and I think social events are one thing, right? But having all your meetups there might not be the best idea. And of course, late night, it's not a great idea depending on, right, again, who you're trying to attract into your meetings, right? And of course, parking is an issue, right? We still drive, okay? We still need to get there somehow.
So what was kind of good, right? So my example with using a local business, it's a great way to also promote local businesses that are your sponsors or that are looking for people, just like with the sponsorship kind of earlier. But it also means that's probably a place where people are already living and working anyway. So when you're talking about commutes or being able to get there, it's a lot more simple when you're doing it where they're already living and working, not just where they're going on the weekends. Family friendly, it's huge, right? Like, how many of you have kids? Raise of hands. It's a significant portion, right? Like it's important that you have a place to actually be able to take them with you on occasion when you need to. And timing. After work. I'm sorry, but like I'm a pregnant person. I lost the ability to go someplace late at night. I am dying now at like 10 o'clock, which sucks. But at the same point in time, that means I need to be able to be at an event at 7 that I can basically finish up and clean up by 9 o'clock. And I bet there's a lot of other people in similar circumstances. So think about that when you're setting the times and the places for your meetings.
So culture, right? So culture is so important because, and I can't even act this out, honestly, because it's just, culture is really that feeling that people have when they come into your meetups. You've created a culture. Whether you know it or not, it is created. And I had somebody the other day say, you know what, I love tech, it's kind of cool, but I love your meetups because it feels good. So how do you do that? How do you create a meetup that feels good, right? You do a code of conduct, you cover it, you talk about it, you act on it when something happens, right? You give good food options, right? You say hello to people. You create an environment where people are like, you know what? I'm going to be awesome because I see somebody else being awesome. So you have to consciously create that culture.
I don't know about that. Like, let's be real here. I mean, the only reason people are really showing up to your meetup is, quite honestly, to see the presentation. The speakers are like super important. The content's super important. So, you know, we don't really need to talk about other stuff or kind of do all that other stuff. I mean, that's like also more effort. So, I mean, it's really kind of nice to just be like down to business, you know, like in and out the, you know, like church hours, right? Like in and out in an hour, you know what I mean? So, you know, we know it's really important for people to just kind of like zoom, and we prioritize that. So.
I had the bad, right? No, you had the bad.
I just did the bad.
I was out of order, sorry.
It's all right. The bad, right? No time set for community members. How many people ask, hey, any other stuff going on at the beginning of their event that other community members might be interested in? Do they talk about what events are coming up? Do you share a calendar with a bunch of other different meetup organizers or maybe even conference event organizers of what's going on? That's kind of important, as well as the networking, getting to know each other, getting to build a network. That's the whole reason why you actually go to meetups. If it was just the content, I could watch that crap on YouTube, all right? Yeah. Like, real, right? Yeah. It's not just about that, it's about the understanding. It's about actually getting to talk to those presenters, finding other people that know the subject matter better or, you know, are struggling just as much as you are, or maybe you can help them. And, you know, sticking to just the presentation doesn't really foster community, does it?
Yeah, so what's the good is, right? Covering your code of conduct is really important. And I've been to meetups where they just kind of gloss over it, don't really talk about it, right? So and having it right in front and center sets the tone for your meetings. And so, of course, you know, food, as we all experience in every meeting and every place we go to, not everybody, many people have food challenges. And so you have to at least try to accommodate those, talk to people about what they are so that you're doing that, right? And of course, time to talk to other people. I think networking is the most important part of our meetups. And I find that, you know, that's where you can kind of overhear where people are talking about. It's like, what are they interested in? But of course, like Pat did such a great job with feedback, like asking them directly, you know, that part of it too. So tonight we're going to talk about Go. Because, you know, Go is awesome. The language, who knows it? Yeah, Go's rocking, right? So before we get started, like there's this thing called a code of conduct, and yeah, you can go read it. It's out on the web, but the truth is just be cool to each other, right? And you know what? We're not going to have any problems because you people are this cool, and we've never had problems in the past. We're not going to have problems in the future, but if you want to know about it, go watch it.
Wow, really? I think it's really important that we have a code of conduct that not just, hey, says things very specifically about what's covered, including just even highlighting maybe an example that might happen at the meetup really quickly. It doesn't need to be a thing that takes, 10 minutes to go through line by line, but honestly, just to say, hey, harassment, any type of any kind at any time, not tolerated here. That includes online and beyond just this meetup space. So do treat each other with respect, and hopefully everybody will do that to a certain degree, but having those examples and having that online and having that very visible on all the things talking about your GDG, basically it's a rule book, right? So everybody kind of sets a standard, ready to go, and it makes people feel really comfortable.
So, just be good to each other, right? I mean, it's good to say that if that's all you're going to say, but still, it's not enough, right? And the more specific you are, the better that is. Like if you've had a situation come up recently, you're not going to talk about names, but you could talk about the example. You could talk about how it was you, how we handled it, because that also gives other people in the community a chance to know what's not okay. Because sometimes we hear things, we overhear things, and there's a part of us that goes, that's probably not okay to say. And if you're quiet, maybe that's because we haven't created a culture that makes you understand that you can speak up. And you're helping other people by being an example. So of course, as leaders, as organizers, we are that, but we are also helping other people understand when it's appropriate to do that.
So what was really, really good about that? I actually highlighted specific examples. What is included? What, areas to think about, right? It's beyond just a case of what you look like, but it can also be a case of just what different things you might be into. Harassment of any kind is just really not acceptable. And diversity and inclusion is all diversity, not just those things that are visible. And also outside of the meetup space, if somebody gets harassed online, you should absolutely have a way to actually kick them out, right? And just say, hey, that's not cool, it wasn't included. It wasn't inclusive behavior that you just had. So think about that. Come on, girl, what the heck is that?
What?
Really?
What? What are you talking about?
You know this is a Star Wars group, right?
What? Okay, and?
Like, you're wearing kind of... What the heck is that? Seriously, do you even know what the rebels are? Like...
Luke, I am your father.
Like, what? Do you know what that means? Like, this is specifically... Like, I don't even understand... Like, did you just read on the meetup that we were, like, into Star Wars and, like, this is you trying too hard? Because, quite honestly, it's blowing my mind right now. Like, it's...
Whatever.
Like, what are you even doing? Like, honestly. Sorry, I say like a lot, but... Like, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Stacy, yo, man, not a cool thing to do, right? We have a code of conduct with people. You don't harass people like that. It's not cool. I understand that the whole, what versus what, but come on, we gotta be cool to each other, right?
Oh, I mean, like, I was just kidding around with them and giving them a hard time. Like, it wasn't really, like, that serious, right? Like, I mean, I wasn't gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, I sensed it. The person sensed it. Everybody in the audience sensed it. It's not cool. Don't harass people. Don't call them out like that. It's just not cool.
Okay. I won't do it again, I guess.
Cool. If you have any other questions, let us know. And we have this great code of conduct. You should go read it.
So the bad, like I was really bullying Rio, and if you didn't catch the context, a certain assumption might be there, but she was wearing a Star Wars #1 fan shirt with a picture of the Enterprise from Star Trek, y'all. Like,
who caught that?
Like, so I was giving her a really hard time about something that she was wearing, when really she kind of read up on the group and saw that we really liked Star Wars. Maybe somebody mentioned that. And she was trying to fit in, and I was just beating her down for it, right? Like, bullying her, heck, that could have been a thing that, quite honestly, if she didn't stop it, I would probably mention it every single time she came in if I was a bully, Or even if you're not necessarily a bully, you might be like, oh, remember that time you came in with that Star Wars shirt, apparently? Like, that's still something that could really hurt someone. Yeah. And they may not say something about it, but little comments like that mean, imagine if your mom said that to you. It's like, oh, hard cut. But that's an important thing to think about. All types of diversity, including what your hobbies are.
Yeah. So, what's good about, I think what we try to display here is that, we took care of it. And I think that's what we're trying to give you, is the idea of taking care of it, calling out the person who is. And by the way, we'd never do it in front of a crowd. You'd take them aside somewhere else and talk to them about it. So just that part of it, right? But the idea too, is that, this was obvious, right? So oftentimes what happens isn't obvious to somebody. You may just be kind of like, I don't feel right about that. I don't know exactly why, but it just doesn't feel right. And you have to ask yourself, is it crossing the line? And that's something over time you learn as you're around more people. And because the truth is, as we blend together, we bump up against each other. And we don't think about that what I'm saying can be received by somebody else in a way. And I'm watching from the third person and watching them react. Right? And so sometimes as an organizer, I'm just walking around to see how the interactions are going. Right? So and again, this slide talks about, right, gossiping, rumor, right? Name calling, come on, right? Are you the only lesbian at this meeting?
I'd be curious how they would even know that.
Please, girl.
I said no judgment.
Now we're demonstrating we're not even trying, so. Okay, so let's kind of wrap it up. So we've talked about today a lot of different ways from, when you set up your meetup, right? When you're trying to attract members, when you set up your culture, you set up everything about the experience that people have coming into your meetup. You want to bake into the cake inclusion, right? And diversity. That's just part of the cake. I mean, we heard this at Miami. There was a great talk about this. And it was really about do it from the ground level. Think about it when you're doing anything about how do I attract a more diverse crowd in here, right? Because the truth is we have more fun when there's more shades of us in every way.
Yeah, I mean, it's super important, and even just you being that example makes such a difference. It's not just a case of attracting members from different backgrounds, it's a case of keeping and welcoming members from different backgrounds, because they are your best advocates.
Right on. All right, thank you very much.